I spent roughly 16 hours playing the PC version of this game, which included a handful of side quests and exploration, as well as full completion of the main storyline. This video is my personal thoughts about the experience. I will note that other reviewers seem to frequently bring up complaints that this game is a port of a console version, which means that they have trouble with the mouse and keyboard over a controller. At the time of my gameplay, this seems to have been patched, as I had no issues whatsoever with the functionality of the mouse and keyboard controls. If you enjoy this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos of video games about pirates. King of Seas is an action role-playing game in which you sail a pirate ship in a procedurally generated tropical world. It was developed by 3D Clouds and published by Team 17 in 2021. It offers a fantastical open world with options of ship battles, trading, fishing, and more. The game starts with your choice of a male or female captain, Lukey or Mary Lou, who after a short tutorial are framed for the death of their royal king father and then cast out the open oceans of piracy. You're taken in by the pirate cast led by Captain D. Morgan. At this point, the game becomes open and you can sail at your leisure. Continuing the main quest sees your chosen pirate heir thwart the real king murderer and retake their familial bloodline within the Royal Navy. On the other hand, most of the side quests seem to be formulaic, either delivery of goods, hunting and sinking ship types, usually targeting the third merchant faction, or escorting your companions to other islands. Alternatively to questing, you're fully able to explore the map as you wish, assault any ship or settlement you see, as well as interact with various types of treasure nodes. Each island you visit will have a carpenter for upgrades and ship repair, a bank, a tavern for crewmates and quests, as well as a market for cargo. Since this is a ship-type game, the main gameplay loop centers around sailing in circles while blasting other boats with port and starboard broadsides. Whilst doing this, there will be 3 standard cannonball choices: normal balls that damage the hull, grape shot that damages the crew, or chain shot that damages the sails. On top of the standard naval battery, there are also 4 equipable special abilities that allow voodoo magic abilities, like a shield of seagulls, ship-seeking fireballs, deadly wakes, damaging fireworks, explosive barrels, or even something as simple as a change of flag in order to trick your enemies into dropping aggro. Besides offensive items, you can also install defenses onto your ship to change and give bonus to things like your sails, hull, or the figurehead. On top of this, the game features a small bit of RPG mechanic, in which case you're able to level up various abilities through skill lines of navigation, battle, or voodoo. Your skill choice is changeable after doing specific side quests for a shaman. There are also 5 ship types with different stats in the form of max speed, cannons, and cargo. However, I didn't feel like they were unique enough to be viable outside of very specific purpose. More or less, this will really come down to how you play, but I will say for me personally, I only found 2 of the ship options practical. Besides boats, island settlements are also fightable by destroying its local fort. This plays the exact same way as boat combat, except you're firing at a stationary target. Once the islands are captured, they can be upgraded for a price. I will note here that this is the end of the combat loop. Unlike other popular pirate ship games, here there is no sword fighting melee minigame, there is no ship boarding, there's no tactical land combat. The most disappointing thing to me was that you cannot capture ships. All ships in King of Seas world exist to be sunk. World navigation starts with the 3 sails set to drift the seas at various speeds. The ship speed is also enhanced by wind direction. After movement, you'll probably notice that the map is a randomized set of something close to 50 islands, I think. Each island is a color that correlates to its faction: blue for Royal Navy, green for merchants, gray for pirates, and red for legendary pirates. Unfortunately for us, simply gliding around the Great Blue doesn't autofill our map. We have to find and visit a weather station and buy the square of map, which seems like a good idea, but I found the map legend to be sorely lacking. Quests automatically point you to the exact spot you need to be to progress, while the map seems to want to evade telling me specific details about what is actually in each quadrant. Unfortunately, none of the music or sound in this game really stood out to me as memorable. Conversely, I quite liked the cinematic graphics, the sort of childhood storybook character art, though cutscenes felt empty without voice acting. I wish the storybook art style had been reflected in the gameplay, as the 3D graphics went for a more cartoony, low-poly look. Art is always to taste, but I feel at this point I have seen this exact art style several times over, and while it looks nice and there's objectively nothing wrong with it, it really lacks any uniqueness, and it fails to stand out amongst the crowd. The Seas also seems to be full of neat little Easter eggs in relation to other pirate media, such as Captain D. Morgan and Luki being references to the anime cartoon and manga One Piece, legendary pirate Tree Hood being Monkey Island's Guybrush Threepwood. The fishing boat restaurant is also the Barati from One Piece, and I think that Lady Jane is a reference to a lesser known real-life child pirate named John King, and there's even more Easter eggs to find. I won't give them all away here. Now let's really dig into my gripes. The biggest is probably how drawn out, slow, and repetitive this title seems. I feel like my experience would have been more favorable if the game didn't feel like it was artificially doubling its playtime. Ultimately, I had to put King of Seas down for a while, as its pacing proved to turn me off from the entire genre of boat-based pirate games entirely for a few weeks now. Some examples. At some point in the latter half of the game, the main quest literally stops and requires you to level up several times. The problem with this unnecessary time gate is that by that point in the game, I had already felt I exhausted all of my entertainment out of the side quests and open world, which means that I was forced to grind levels to continue the main quest. Another example, I would say, is that the only harvestable node that's locked at the start of the game were the fishing nodes, which made me assume that they functioned unique to the others. In order to use the fishing nodes, you have to find the restaurant boat, which can be anywhere in the map because it's randomized. Once you finally find the boat and get the fishing rod, you go interact with the fishing node, and it's not unique in any way to the others. You just click, and then the game auto fishes. There's not a fishing mini game to break up the monotony, and it felt disrespectful to my time, I think. Other more minor flaws seem to be redundant ships and redundant combat. What is the point of attacking the crew or the sails over the whole of the ship if the end result, or the end goal, is always to sink the ship? The untuned friendly AI was constantly running into me or blocking my way, specifically in ports. The leveling didn't feel like it was tuned well enough. Every upgrade, be it skills or weapons or stats, it never felt like I truly leveled up and started having an upper hand in the combat. Also, this game is supposed to have cool stuff like ghost pirates and mythical sea monster battles, and even though I played it for 15 hours and did side quests and completed the main story and fully explored the entire game map, I never saw these things. I don't know where they're hidden. It's quite telling that the game released only a few years ago and already frequently has incredibly steep price drops to under $5. I actually got the game for free in a free giveaway, but I've seen it discounted as low as $2, which is crazy. The game's probably worth picking up at that price if you go in explicitly understanding and expecting this game to be just a time waster, and you're not expecting a deep, memorable, in-depth and rewarding experience. And that pretty much sums up the whole review. Not quite sure which game I'm going to be looking at next. As far as the reviews go, I will say I will not be playing Ubisoft's Skull and Bones. However, I do have a bunch of other games on the horizon, like Horizon's Gate, or Corsair Legacy, or Caribbean Legend, or King of Crabs, or a review of Peach Leaf Pirates. Stay tuned!